Please welcome Victor Rajasuriya, Managing Director of Panoramic Resources. Victor is a mining engineer with more than 25 years operational and technical experience in multiple disciplines across both underground and open pit operations. Last year, you may remember that Victor was speaking about becoming the king of nickel. So let's see how that's going for you, Vic.
Thanks, Courtney. I'll answer your question in a couple of slides. And good afternoon, everyone. Listen, as Courtney mentioned, last year when I gave the presentation here, I said I was going to be the king of nickel, and we were developing a project. And this year, I'm proud to be saying that we are now a producer of Class 1 nickel, copper and cobalt from our Savannah mine in the East Kimberley in Western Australia. So it's been a pretty good year for us. I'll skip through the usual disclaimers. And listen, to answer Courtney's question, there certainly is a battle for the nickel throne. And when you look at the people out there, there are potentially 4 kings, and vying for the spots. And that's actually the nickel sulfide producers in the Australian landscape. It is like Game of Thrones. There are 4 kings at the moment vying for the spots. Everyone is trying to be on top of each other or trying to get on top of each other. And recently, we've seen some kings' heads lobbed off, and castles coming together as well. So now let's see who these players are in this nickel space. So first, we have Robert Baratheon. He's the longest-serving king, the oldest king, and that's definitely Dan Locker. Then we have Robert Baratheon's son, the youngest son, Joffrey, who left the family throne, then started his new upstart. He's a new upstart in the industry, and that has to be Mr. Southam. And recently, everyone talks about, comparing Dave to Ash Barty, but I actually think he looks very similar to Joffrey. Then we have the Night King, the raiders, and they have been accumulating, a lot of nickel and lithium as they're marching. They have a strong army, and they are also at the foot of all the other king's castle. And that is no one other than Peter Bradford. Then there's Jon Snow, the hero of the story, the people's favorite. You know who that is, right? The king of the north, the king in the north, and that is me. I'm glad you guys recognize me, right? So now let's have a look at what's happened in this space over the last few months, right? Both the Baratheons are gone, The Night King took out Dan, or Robert, and then Joffrey stepped to the side. I think he's now taken a career in golf, or he's up to something, but he's left this place, which really leaves the only 2 kings now, the king in the north and then the king in the south in Peter. Mind you, later this year, we do have a queen of nickel coming into the industry. And, just like the Game of Thrones series, who knows, the queen might outlast us all. Anyway, I've got your attention now, anyway. So let me now talk about the panoramic castle that we are building. So on the corporate overview, we have about 2 billion shares on issue. Our share price is about 20 cents today, giving us a market cap of 400 odd million. Our largest shareholder is IGO, aka the Night King, and they are sitting at 21%. And our second largest shareholder is Zeta at 15%. The board and management that we have are quite experienced board. Both Nick Sonata and myself are mining engineers with operational background. And the rest of the board are experienced directors in various fields in running a business. In regards to our tenement package, I guess, I told you we were in the Kimberley of Western Australia. The second picture shows you our layout of our tenement package. The green bits are the ultramafics that are highly prospective for mineralization, and that's the ground that we've been drilling, and we are right in the central package called the Savannah Complex. And again, you could see that the Night King and his IGO crew have surrounded our tenement package. The picture to the right is the Savannah mine. The old Savannah mine is under the open pit that we are actually mining some remnants from, but the focus is really opening the new mine at Savannah North, which has a 12-year mine life. I'll play a quick 2-minute video that will give you an overview of our mining layout.
Panoramic Resources is an Australian nickel producer operating the Savannah Nickel Mine in the East Kimberley region of Western Australia. Open pit mining commenced in 2004 before operations transitioned underground in 2005. The Savannah North deposit was discovered in 2014 and gives the project a current mine life of more than a decade. The resources defined at Savannah and Savannah North total 209,800 tonnes of contained nickel, 94,200 tonnes of contained copper, and 13,700 tonnes of contained cobalt. These resources underpin the base case 12-year mine life with potential for extension. Initial drilling intercepts at Savannah North originated from the Savannah development, with extension drilling now taking place from Savannah North. Panoramic hopes to replicate the discovery of further mineralisation. Since mining of the Savannah North deposit commenced, 100 metres of vertical development have been completed. The majority of the resource and life of mine development is at Savannah North, with some remnant resources at the Savannah deposit above and below the 900 fault to be mined over time. Extensive drilling has been completed to support the resource and mine plan. Further drilling is planned at Savannah, where the resource is open at depth and to the west below the 900 fault. Planned drilling will also test areas previously thought to be unmineralised, such as the upper splay at Savannah North, where recent infill drilling hit both upper and lower lenses and an unexpected upper lens. Additional drilling is also designed to test an EM target proximal to the upper portion of Savannah North. Panoramic is confident significant upside remains at both deposits, with mineralisation at Savannah open to the west and mineralisation at Savannah North remaining open to the east, northwest and the west at depth.
Hopefully that's given you an overview of the mining resources that we have. So just going back 12 months ago, in April 21, we finished a feasibility study which identified that the project had good economics and that there's a 12-year mine plan in front of us, able to produce about 9,000 tons of nickel, just under 5,000 tons of copper, and about 700 tons of cobalt. And this is at nameplate capacity. The all-in cost at that time was going to be about $6.36 a pound, with a cash flow forecast of 610 and an NPV of 353 million. You could look at the metal prices that we used at that time. It was $16,000 a ton nickel, and currently nickel is trading at about $23,000 a ton. So before we restarted this project, we actually changed our strategy, and we went with a tier 1 mining contractor in Barminco to do the underground work, and we went with a tier 1 contractor in Primero to run our processing plant on site. We also wanted to make sure that we had a strong balance sheet. So we went to Trafigura, we got an offtake agreement with them for a 5-year term, really good payable terms, and in return they gave us a US $45 million debt facility. We have drawn down 30 of that, and 15 million is yet to be drawn. So once all this was sorted out, in July we started the development of the project. So we've just had a year behind us. It has been a successful restart. You've heard about the issues that other companies faced over the last 12 months, and we certainly faced them. And it's around labor, cost inflation, and COVID disruptions. But even through those challenges, we were able to make 4 shipments of concentrate, and we were able to declare commercial production as of 1 April this year. So the focus now is all about ramping up. The FY23 is all about ramp up and hitting nameplate capacity at the start of FY24. We did put a guidance out for FY23, so we will produce about 7,000 tons of nickel, and the C1 cost is going to be about $7.30 to $8.30 a pound. And we plan to spend about $40 million in sustaining capital and as well as growth capital during the year. A nickel price at the moment today is about $15 a pound, so there is a good margin. When we look at the mining operations on how we've gone over the last quarter, so comparing June quarter to the March quarter, June quarter has been good. We mined about 8% more ore. The mining labor for site is actually getting better and better every day. Paminco at the moment are currently sitting at about 95% of the people we need, and that's getting better day by day. What we are seeing is that there's a lot of green entrants entering the industry, so we've had to increase extra supervision, extra training to get these people to work safely and productively. And all the infrastructure equipment are on site to get us through FY23 and beyond. On the processing side, when you look at, again, the June quarter to the March quarter, we processed about 15% less in the March quarter, or in the June quarter, sorry. And that was really to do with some power interruptions on site, which has been rectified, and a planned shut of the plant as well. But even during that time, we produced about 14,000 tons of concentrate. The best part is that the nickel recovery is improving quarter on quarter, and we are currently sitting at 76%. Primero have done a really good job in manning up the site. They're running at about 98% of people. And FY23, we will see about 11 shipments of concentrate leaving the port. I'll switch to exploration. The key takeaways from here is the red bits, which is the 12-year mine plan in the reserves, and then the yellow bits, which are the resources that are yet to be converted into our mine plan. We haven't been able to do that drilling at the moment, given that most of the drilling was done from the old Savannah mine. It's only now that we're actually establishing Savannah North, we've been able to put drilling platforms in there and plan to drill it. Even in the last few months, as we're drilling into this area, we're actually hitting unexpected other mineralized lenses. So the geologists are working to better understand it. And the picture on the right-hand side is one of those examples. We get really good hits, 6 meters at 1.5% nickel, and nobody knew that area existed. So over time, I think with all this drilling, we will be able to extend the 12-year mine life even further. Switching to the old Savannah mine. So Savannah mine ran from 2004 to 2016. In 2016, when the metal prices were low, the decision was made to shut the mine. At the same time, where the mine at that time, the levels that we were mining, the geologists thought that the ore body was pinching, and they decided that there was no continuation. Since the restart, we've actually had a look at the resource continuation. We have a conceptual design that we designed, and we believe that the resource actually continues at depth. And to test that theory, at the end of June, we started drilling under Savannah. And we've only done about 7 holes, but all 7 holes hit mineralization. So if you have a look at the 2 pictures, the original interp is the yellow bit, and now the new interp is the yellow bit and the orange bit combined together, which are showing widths of about 10% to about 9 meters to 20 meters in width, and grades of between 1.5% to 3% nickel. So this is going to be a focus for us. We are going to be drilling this area now for the next 3 months, with the idea that this area will convert to more additional resources, eventually into reserves, and it will become another mining front for us as we mine from Savannah North. On the surface, all the drilling to date has been around the Savannah complex. We did do a few holes at the earlier this year, just diamond drilling holes. We are currently waiting on some geophysics crews to come back to site to actually do downhole EM surveys before further drilling. The interesting project is actually on the northern part of the tenement package called Norton's. We've had this ground for 20 odd years. It's got very similar characteristics to Savannah Complex. We haven't been able to do any work there because of land access, and we were able to get a land access agreement in place last year. So we are planning a heritage survey later this year, and after that we'll put some drill holes into that ground. On the sustainability side, we are working on reducing our carbon footprint. We consume about 20 million liters of fuel every year. That is to run the power plant, to service the processing plant and the underground, and that's the diesel power plant. So we are working with Pacific Energy to look at a solar farm with a battery backup, and if that's able to be accomplished, we will be reducing our diesel consumption significantly. On the underground side, Barminco, who are our underground contractors, are part of the Electric Mine Consortium, and they're working with suppliers to make sure that they have a phased project to bring underground equipment that are electric vehicles over a 3 or 4 year period. Once that happens, that actually brings our cost profile down as well. So it's definitely a worthwhile exercise to do. On the community side, we are very actively involved. We have lots of local communities in the area, and we are tapping into the young minds of these kids, giving them an opportunity to grow on the education front, and we are using the Teach, Learn, Grow program to do that. We've done that for just over 3 years now, and we've been getting some really positive results. The local employment from the community is now increasing with COVID disruptions that did go backwards, but we are seeing a lot of them returning back to work. And since 2004, we paid about $14 million in royalties to our traditional owners, and we plan to more than double that in the next 12 years as well. So I'm pretty good on time, actually. So I'll circle back to our value proposition. We have a mine in the backyard of WA in a very safe area. We've had a good restart. It's been a safe restart, and we have a good, strong balance sheet with an offtake agreement for 5 years. The focus now is all about ramping up to over FY23 and getting to steady state production in FY24. Now, when I sit back and look at the metal prices that we saw in June, this project, this is a $25,000 nickel price, is able to generate about $1.8 billion in cash and would have an NPV of $1.2 billion. So this is the whole thing of being unhedged and exposed to the nickel price. And the all-in cost at that time will be about $7 a pound. And again, the cost of the revenue or the nickel price at the moment is about $15 a pound. So we do have a high-quality cash generative asset in Western Australia, long mine life, and really good exploration potential. And it's in good hands in the King in the North.
Thanks, Vic. That's about all the time we have.